Yeah, I'm getting pretty sick of that intro too. Welcome to part 13, guys. This is an extra video. We're gonna go over a few things that I saved for the last minute, or things I just didn't really have time to cover before. First, I'm gonna show the sequence break that I just really like. You can use a combat dash against one of these walls to get past that door and skip this entire section. I didn't quite do it right the first time, but there you go. It's a good way to save time. And you get achievements, so yeah, there's something to keep in mind for speedruns. And now I'm going to show the card gallery. This is just a simple place, you see I got all the cards, and you can also look at achievements, which I didn't get all of, but whatever. And you can change your save data. But just listen to the music that plays during this. I think it really says a lot about this game that something as benign as the card gallery has such dramatic sounding music that you could imagine during some epic cutscene. It's great. They really go the extra mile with everything in this game. Anyway, this is Mahjong. I really like this minigame. It's a good time waster. It's been there since the original demo, I think. And I remember back when I first played that, I probably spent more time just playing this over and over and over again than Dragon Valley, than the actual demo. It's stupid fun. You just gotta click on these tiles, the ones with the same symbols, and you gotta make sure there's enough empty spaces around them that you can actually touch them. And you just gotta chip away at these clumps of them. There is one way to lose at Mahjong, and you'll see I'm about to fail spectacularly in this recording. If you get 4 of these and even 2 of them, and they're the same kind and they're on top of each other, so you can't reach the one underneath, well, you're stuck. You can't win. You can't get any further. And look at this. I have never seen so many on one screen like this. I'm really glad I got that recording. I'm really glad I showed myself failing so spectacularly. Anyway, I don't really like the music that plays much during the final version, so I booted up an older version of the game, a demo, so you could hear this music while I play through a few more rounds. You may recognize this music. It plays at the end of most of these videos. I just love it because it's more melodious than the track that plays during the final build of the game. It's more fitting for a fantasy and like a story like this, I think. It's just more fitting for a world like Atlas. I mean, it's just so mellow and relaxing. I don't do so well in these recordings. I used to play it with a controller, and I'd use X-Pad to map the keys and whatnot, but for this whole LP I was just using the actual keyboard, and that's fine during the regular gameplay, but during this bit I kept pressing the arrow keys too much and overshooting these panels and whatnot, and I just couldn't relax like I could with a controller. So yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't do so well in this recording. There's no real way to lose at Mahjong aside from getting stuck like I did before, which even then happens pretty rarely. It's the only time I've ever seen it happen like that, but it's really just about getting the best time you can. And I know I take kind of long in these recordings, usually 50 seconds, but when I used a controller and when I just kept playing this over and over again, probably a couple hundred times back in the day, I could get it down to 29 seconds, so yeah, it's pretty good. Again, just practice, keep at it. There are a couple of ways to save time, if you see 2 that are the same but they're on different corners of the screen, you can go all the way to the left or all the way to the right, and the cursor will appear on the other side of the screen, so there are ways like that to shave off a second or 2. Again, I just love this music. I know this bit's a little long, but I just wanted to show myself playing through a few rounds of this. It is quite fun. It's very easy to unlock. It's just another one of those extra little things that they added to the game that they didn't really need to, and yet there's this one thing, this incredibly simple thing, just adds so much more playtime to it. It's very, very addictive. Like I said, back when the earliest demos were released, it's it wasn't just Dragon Valley, it was this, and some training rooms that I'm also going to be showing off in this video, and that made it a really, really meaty demo. It adds so much replay value to it. And I appreciate that they left this in the final game, because even though it is just a small extra little thing, it is really fun. It does that a lot, and yeah, I love this stuff. Alright, now we're going to the Shangmu Academy. This isn't like in the main story, it's just an extra bit of gameplay. There's these 18 training rooms where you gotta hit all the targets and move on to the next one. Most of them you can blow through in a few seconds, but there are some that do take a little longer, as you'll see. And they mix it up with everyone. There's like a couple that I'm gonna point out that I personally really like, and I'm even gonna show how some of them have been changed since the earlier demo versions. But overall, I think these explain themselves. You know, you can see what's going on for yourself. So instead of dissecting every little one, I'm going to go over some things I've wanted to for a while now. And just so that I don't forget anything, I've written down some of these bullet points on a sheet of paper. So anyway, sequelitis. Recently, Aaron Henson, Eagle Raptor, uploaded a sequelitis video about Zelda, and there was one point where he showed someone close to Sonic Adventure, and he was just showing how horrible it is by triggering this crazy glitch that I've never seen in my life, the kind where you really have to try to break the game to pull something like that off. You can do that with almost any game, really. But anyway, some people came to me right after going like, Nick, I think he did that to piss you off. I think he saw your videos about him. Are you going to make another video about him? I think he saw your stuff and he made this to get back at you. And I'm like, guys, no, this is much bigger than me. I sincerely doubt that Eagle Raptor would do anything like that just because he saw one of my videos. And it's like, oh, I'll show him. If anything, that was in response to like the whole of the Sonic fan base, which he basically seems to have declared war on or whatever. But yeah, he was working on that video for, what, a year and a half, 2 years? I sincerely doubt that he threw that bit in there, this bit that showed up pretty early on, that I'm sure he planned to do for ages, just as a knee-jerk reaction after seeing one of my videos about him, one of which I made just a few days before that video was released. So yeah, I'm just wanted to clear that up. Also, let's see, a drinking game. If you want, and I wouldn't recommend this, even if you are above like the legal drinking age, whatever. But if you want, if you have a death wish, I guess you can try to make some kind of a drinking game out of this LP. You can take a swig every time that I say I love something, such as a particular piece of music, or every time I say this is getting crazy, or whenever I stumble over my words and I begin a statement by saying, so yeah. So yeah, if you want to die of alcohol poisoning, there's that. I especially would not recommend going with that last Klaus. I guess you could try to go for the first two, but if you add that last bit, you're gonna like triple your consumption. So just don't do it. I myself have never consumed alcohol in my life. I don't think I will if I can help it. So yeah. Anyway, Sonic Exodus. No, people, Sonic Exodus is not dead. I know it's been a really long time since we made any updates, since we made any videos about it or whatever, but we are making progress on the game, and we're getting really close to a point now where we're ready to whip up another trailer and just show off all the things we've been working on. It'll be like the biggest video since the announcement trailer, like, what was it, a couple of years ago. Also, this is one of the trickier places. It's really just in terms of the time. There aren't that many like hazards here or whatever that could actually hurt you. You just gotta make a way through this little maze, and you can get through it pretty quickly if you know which ladders to go up and which walls to go over. But anyway, again, you can see how these play for yourself. So anyway, yeah, Sonic Exodus. We've been moving up a lot of crazy new things lately, and the island still isn't nearly done. I guess you could say it's about halfway done, maybe. We still got a lot to go. It's just game development takes time, guys. It takes a long time to make like even a game like this, the one you're seeing right now. Like, I've been following this one for years, and even though we're making just one level, this island, it's a pretty big one. And anyway, again, I'm sorry that it's been so long since we showed anything. I swear you're gonna see something in the next few weeks, or like the next month or two. No later than that. We'll get back to Sonic Exodus soon. Anyway, let's see, what else? The story. I know I nitpicked over a few things in the story, and I'm sorry if those like detracted from the rest of this LP. I mean, some people came to me saying, like, wow, this is the first truly constructive criticism of this scene or that scene. I can see how this wouldn't work for somebody now. I don't know why I went through this room a second time. I should have cut this out during the editing process. I'm really sorry about that. Actually, no, wait, I do know why I went through this a second time now. Part of it is just because I really like this room, but also just, well, you know, watch. I don't know why, I just love being bounced around like that. But anyway, the story of this game. A few scenes here and there do kind of irk me. I think they're... Oh, also, I'm sorry that it took me so long to get through this room. I swear that before I started recording this footage, I practiced, like, with all these stages. I just ran through them each one time, and I got through this on my first try. No problem. And yet, the LP curse kicked in, and I just kept fumbling here, and I'm really sorry, but whatever, it just gives me a little more time to talk. So anyway, yeah, there's a couple of scenes here and there that irk me because I think they're really cheap and manipulative and were thrown in there to add an extra bit of drama or fake drama, whatever you want to call it. Things that I think really could have been done without, or at least I would have handled very, very differently myself if I hadn't been involved with the writing process. But overall, I do think it's a pretty good story. I commend Strife for managing to cram so much world building into this first game. I think it did a pretty good job. But yeah, I wouldn't say this story is downright shitty like some people would. I think it has a few problems, but overall I think it's pretty good. I find it pretty enjoyable. I like the voice acting and even most of the dialogue. There's just a few things here and there that really hit me in the wrong spot. Anyway, there's a couple other people doing LPs of this game lately. There's Mega G Wolf. He's doing an LP right now. He's been a big supporter of this game right from the beginning. He showcases a lot of like Sonic fan games and whatnot, and well, back when this game began, it basically was just a Sonic fan game. He was a big supporter of it then too, and it's just grown over the years to become so much more than that. But whatever, I'll touch upon that again near the end of the video. But yeah, he's doing an LP right now. It's very different from this LP. It's more fresh. Oh, by the way, this area is pretty fun. This is these structures spell out "go for it." Pretty neat. So anyway, yeah, his is more fresh. It's more like live. You can see him going through it in action, and it's you know, it's one of those LPs. But he's better than most people who do those kinds of LPs, so check him out if you have the time. Also, the first group commentary group that's doing this LP at the moment is Polished Corner Comms. I'm just giving them a shout out because, well, you know, like I said just now, they're the first guys I've seen so far who are like you know, multiple guys doing an LP of this together. Also, this is one of the trickier rooms. This just spikes all over the floor, and you don't want to fall off any of these ladders. You just gotta be very, very careful. I do think it's easiest to get through as Lilac because of her Cyclone ability, which is essentially a double jump, and because she can use a Comet Dash and whatnot to get around. You gotta be really careful here. The idea is for one of these springs to bounce you back onto that platform, but if you miss it, like I almost did, well, you're dead and you gotta do it all over again. This room, I really wish they didn't change it. I find it very bland now. You just gotta go to the bottom of each of these half pipes to get one of these targets. It's really easy and kind of pointless now. It used to be very different. I'll be showing a recording of how in a moment. Oh, and the very last of these training rooms especially was completely butchered. Like, nothing's happening here. Just watch. I'll explain how it used to be different in a moment. But anyway, yeah, so there's Mega G Wolf, he's doing an LP. There's the Polished Corner Comms group, they're doing an LP. And, you know, I just want to say, if you're not sick of seeing people play this game and talk about it yet, well, you know, there's those. And, you know, they're very different than this LP, so, you know, that should at least keep them from getting too boring if you want to see someone else's take on this game. So anyway, now I'm going to talk about momentum. You may notice in this earlier build of the game that I'm booting up that, yeah, Lilac can roll around like Sonic the Hedgehog. And this is one of the things that was removed from the game, at least mostly because Carol can still kind of do it. Because, you know, there's this big stigma against this game because, oh, it's too Sonic-like, it's a stupid Sonic fan hack in disguise. But just look at how much more interesting some of these areas play. Interestingly, I should say. Like this right here. Watch. Because of the rolling, like, yeah, you're supposed to reach those, and it just made these rooms so much more fun to play through before. And I just feel like showing off how they used to be before they were changed. Oh, this one especially. Like, back in the day, that meter didn't charge up so quickly, so you had to build up momentum to fill it up faster. So if you wanted to get through any of these areas, you had to bounce on the springs and whatnot. And, you know, it might seem kind of dumb, but again, I just felt like showing off how these used to be before they were changed. It's like, I can understand Strife changing this to, you know, to get rid of some of the stigma against this game, people saying it's too Sonic-like. But rolling in this game does not feel like rolling does in the classic Sonic games. It does feel very different, and it's very fun for what it is. And it's just one of those things that I kind of wish they didn't take out, because a cyclone on the ground is still pretty useful. But whatever. I admit I got pretty upset at the time when that was removed from some of the later demos, but whatever. Anyway, this is something I personally felt like showing off. When you destroy the sub-boss in this area, all of the lasers suddenly disappear. So you can backtrack a ways and just blow through this level. It's super, super, super easy now. There's like nothing that can hurt you. And again, it's just one of those little things I felt like showing off that I meant to touch upon at the time, but I wound up not having enough time to. Anyway, those Shangmu training rooms are pretty fun. You know, just another little thing that adds to the game for what it is. Oh, I need to confess, these next few minutes of footage are not mine. They were sent to me by a very helpful person who's been keeping up with this whole LP, and you know who you are. There's also a bit of extra added dialogue in these sections, but the main draw of these cutscenes is the bloopers. If you press the C button while holding down the down arrow key, well, just watch.
I have to make sure they're okay. Can't you be Little Miss Hero Pants some other time? Carol, you stupid furball, go take your flea bath some other time. I gotta go check on those civilians, because we won't be able to get through the plot if I don't. Yeah,
bloopers. You can unlock these anytime, like in the actual cutscenes. There aren't that many of them, but there's some to look out for.
I could run right there. I'm sorry.
Also, in this next bit, I wanted to show off something that was left out of the game. Yeah, there used to be hub worlds, hub areas. I don't think this was the only one, but it's the only one that I was given footage of. And I really wish Strife didn't leave this out, because I like seeing little bits like that pond next to Lilac's place and whatnot, and it really makes this whole area feel really lived in. I guess he left it out because he felt it was a little barren and boring, and that, well, you already get to see most of the stuff in the cutscenes, so there's not really any point to extending the playtime even more. But yeah, this is just another clip I was given, and I felt like showing it off here. I just think that this would have been really cool to see, even if it was over really quickly and didn't really add that much. It would make the universe of Freedom Planet feel a little more lived in. There's a bit of extra dialogue in these cutscenes that I was sent. I think these were removed from an earlier build in the game. When they're talking about things like charge up and recharging and whatnot, I think it has to do with that energy meter that everybody has, because it did used to take a really long time to charge up on its own. So I think this is an actual thing about this world and the way these people live, that they can have themselves instantly replenished like that. It's pretty neat. The main draw of these cutscenes for me, these bloopers, is the extra animations that were made just for them. Like, look at this. That's a lovely animation. I really wish that we could see that in the actual story, because it's really nicely made. And it is kind of a shame that we don't get to see them outside of these bloopers, but whatever. I do appreciate that they went to the trouble of making those animations at all.
This is hard to be cool and suave while being informative at the same time. God damn my coolness.
Prince Dale of Schwiegar.
So yeah, I'll try not to talk over all these bloopers, but it's just a really nice animation, and I do appreciate that they went the extra mile for things like that.
There has to be a way. We forced him to help us against his will.
I see. We shall establish a Tim Tam's currency exchange program.
Huh?
We shall establish a Tim Tam's currency exchange program.
I know not all of these bloopers are really that funny, but I just felt like showing them all off anyway.
Go ahead.
We examined the fragment your commander gave us.
Does that mean that you'll help? Does that mean that you'll help?
Anyway, I want to take a moment to show something very special to me. Hey guys, I'm here to show you an epic game today. I've been keeping up with this since it was just in the beta phase. I've been waiting to play this. Here it is, the Freedom Planet! Yeah, what you're seeing right now is footage from my original Freedom Planet LP from back in the day, from years ago. And wow, have we come a long way since then. Not just the game, but like even my recording equipment. Like herself looked more like a typical Sonic fan character back then, well, what she essentially was. But you know, again, this game has grown and changed a lot over the years, and I appreciate what's become of it. I really like that blinking animation on the lives counter. I wish they left that in. I used Livestream Procaster back then to get this footage and a friend's livestream account, and even on my more powerful PC at the time, it just wasn't that good, but wow, I couldn't have imagined us coming this far since then. And what better way to end this whole thing, to end this LP, than to play through Dragon Valley just one more time for old time's sake. This is the oldest version of the game I have at the moment because, well, the one you saw in the previous clip died with my old PC. This is the oldest version I have on my current PC, and I felt like showing off some of the changes that have been made to the game since then. You see they had a nice blinking animation back then. The energy meter took a lot longer to fill up than it does now, but you can get it to speed up by building momentum and whatnot. I am glad they changed it at the end of the day, just because, like, back then I didn't really like this change because I was all hyped up on momentum and whatnot, and yeah, I was just thinking too much of this being like a Sonic game back then. It has become so much more since then, as I keep saying. You can see that the textures are a bit different, you know, some of the enemies and whatnot are different, and you'll see some of the level design has been changed since then. And it just, again, I just felt like showing off how different these used to be and just how much this game has changed over the years. But anyway, I'll touch upon a couple of gameplay gimmicks as we come to them, but I wanted to touch upon a couple other things in the meantime. So, one of the first clips I saw of like anyone playing this game right after it was released on Steam was of these guys in their room, and I don't know exactly what language they were speaking, but it sounded most of all like Spanish to me. So anyway, one guy was playing the game, there was another guy just walking around in the background you could see on their webcam, and the guy was just walking around, he was kind of being a dick. Again, I don't know exactly what they were saying, but it was pretty obvious that one guy was saying, "This is Sonic," or, you know, and the guy playing it was saying, you know, "It's not Sonic!" And it was just kind of funny to me, because, like, yeah, people who really like this game will say it's not just a Sonic game, but people who don't care about it will just shrug it off as just that. So, oh well. I mean, I don't understand why people hate this game so much for being a Sonic game. It's like, there are certain people who really want this game to fail, who wanted to make sure it doesn't get another cent, and are trying to, like, stop that. I'm not talking about Gigaboots or, you know, guys like that you've seen. You know, they still seem to like some things about this game, even with all their criticisms. I'm talking about people like Gligar Vids, I guess, but even then, that's kind of an act. You know, at one point I considered having Gligar appear as a guest in this commentary, but yeah, I wound up not having enough time to go over everything, even without anybody else there. Even now, I'm still trying to gather all my thoughts. But anyway, again, I don't understand the hatred people have for this game. I don't understand why they can't just enjoy it, aside from there being this absurd, completely unwarranted stigma against Sonic in general, classic games included, and anything that even vaguely resembles them. I mean, you know what? Fine. This game is Sonic. But it's also Mega Man, specifically like X4. And it's also Rocket Knight. And it's also Gunstar Heroes. You know, it's just a potluck of all these great games from that era. Oh, by the way, here's something interesting that was in an earlier version of the game. Yeah, this power-up gives you unlimited energy for a time. It has its own little theme music and everything, and I guess it was left out after, you know, your energy could recharge on its own so much faster than back then. But again, just something from a time before time I felt like showing off. So yeah, let's see what else. But yeah, to me, this was no more offensive than a game like Shovel Knight, which is another really awesome game. I'm definitely going to buy that and play it at some point soon. It's just that, you know, now that I've basically got blown through this, like, geez, I've been playing this game for 60 hours, because it's just that much fun to me. You can see it on my Steam. But anyway, so what was I going to say? Again, this is no worse than any game like that to me. I think it's in the same camp. I think it's just that people just hate Sonic for some strange reason that I just can't figure out. And yeah, I know he's had a lot of bad games, but it's like they're completely forgetting all the good ones. And even then, like, they look at the classic and say, oh, they just play themselves. The only way you could actually like them in this day and age is if you're just a nostalgic fanboy who's blind to how they don't hold up now. Guys, I have no nostalgia for the classic games. I didn't grow up playing any of them. I only played them in, like, recent years, and that was when I, like, realized how brilliant they are. It's just, nostalgia has nothing to do with my enjoyment of this game, or anything like that. I just have a lot of fun playing it here and now in this day and age. And that's all I really need to say about it. But, yeah, I wish that people were giving this game more of a chance. I wish I didn't have this strange stigma against it, but I guess it's just par for the course nowadays. By the way, here's another interesting gimmick I felt like showing off. For those of you who are wondering what these orbs were originally for, yeah, you collect 5 of them, and depending on what color most of them are, you get a shield. You know, this is a flower shield, and the other colors give you other shields. And this is some that I do wish was left in the final game, just because it, I don't know, it gives the player a little more choice than just having, you know, the standard other shields appearing here and there. Just another thing that's really interesting that I felt like showing off in this footage. So anyway, as I keep saying, I wish people would give this game a chance. I wish they wouldn't let their bias against everything that resembles Sonic, you know, blind them to how wonderful this game is. But I guess you just can't change some people. And, but whatever. It's up to guys like me, and Johnny, and Clement, and Kobanamani, and whoever else to fight against that stigma. You know, because we love these kinds of games. You can see how level-headed we are, how discerning we can still be. We're not blind fanboys. And it's fine that other people have their own opinions, you know, of course. Shouldn't even have to explain that, but again, I do think that the bashing against this game and whatnot is a little much. I mean, this is like one of my favorite games at this point. It's right up there with Metroid Prime and Majora's Mask and Super Mario World and Dust, and yeah, Sonic 3K is right over there with those games. Because, like, yeah, it does have some of the things I love about Sonic games, but there are other things about just this on its own that I absolutely love. The combat is some of the most satisfying I've seen in any game. I love the enemy design. And yeah, I love a lot of the platforming gimmicks and whatnot made just for this game, and I love the emphasis on trying to break the game to pull off crazy tricks. That's just really fun to me. As you can see, I tried to pull off that trick again, but I didn't do it right that time. Anyway, we're nearing the end of this. I guess I've gone over all of my thoughts about this now. Yeah, I've talked about basically everything. Again, you know, I guess I'm one of the more forgiving people when it comes to this game, but I have been keeping up with it for a long time, and, you know, it didn't disappoint me at all. It actually wound up being even better than I thought it would be. Like, I couldn't even have imagined some of the things that we see as the game goes on. I couldn't have imagined it being this big. Like, looking back at that older footage, there was a time when I thought there were only going to be like 5 stages, and it wound up being so much more than that. It's just, dang. Anyway, yeah, I'm really happy with what this game ended up being. It has more than exceeded my expectations. It has gone right up there. It is. I am more than satisfied with this game. I couldn't be any happier about it. Unless, you know, some of the cutscenes were ended up being a bit better or whatever. And yeah, it's just neat to me seeing how far we've come since then. Just how much has changed in this time. I couldn't have imagined, like, back when I made that original LP of the demo, just doing everything that we've seen in this LP. I couldn't have imagined this LP being as gratifying as it has been to make. I am very happy with how this whole thing has turned out. I can see you guys have been enjoying it a lot, even with my weird tangents and the huge amount of cutscenes and everything. And thanks for sticking around. Thanks for, you know, commenting on most of these videos. Thanks for sticking through to the whole thing. Thanks for sticking with me. It's been great having you guys. Like, there aren't that many of you really, but you're very, very vocal, and I appreciate the continued feedback. It's gonna be a long while before I make another LP like this, but yeah, that's it. That's Freedom Planet. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed it with me, and I hope that some of you at least are considering buying this game now. It's only $15. I don't understand why people act like that's a lot of money when they'll throw $60 at another COD game or whatever. I mean, you could get lunch for that price at some places. Of course, that wouldn't be wise, but whatever. Just compare that, you know? A really good burger and fries, or this, you know, which I ended up playing 60 hours because I just loved it that much, and a very small percentage of that was footage that I recorded for this LP, really. Okay, enough about me. Clement, Cabana Many, I want to see you guys LP this game at some point. I want to see that appear in my subscription someday. You can do it whenever you feel like. You know, I understand if you have other projects in the way right now, you don't have to do it anytime soon, but if you ever get around to playing this, and I know, it is guaranteed, it is a fact, that you will enjoy the shit out of this game. You will love it. Okay, some call me Johnny. I want to see you review this game at some point, because I can imagine you having so many interesting things to say about the story and the combat and, you know, whether or not this can be considered just another Sonic game or its own thing or whatever. It's just another one of those things that I would really love to see someday. I understand you've got other reviews to do, you've got the, you know, the LP channels to keep up with and all that, but if you can ever find time to try this game out and just squeeze that in, I think it would just be really special to see you review this game. Let's see, anyone else? Okay, Roger, Luke, I want to see a Freedom Planet dissected someday. Again, you don't have to do this. I'm sorry for being so, like, entitled and demanding and whatnot, but if you guys play this game, I can't imagine you not having something to say about it. And I can imagine you guys having, like, a very interesting perspective and bring up things I never even thought about, or put some interesting new spin on it. So again, if you ever have the time, you know, I just think it would be really, really interesting and fun to see. Let's see, anyone else? Okay, Steve of Bellina Productions, a good friend of mine. I want you to play this game. You don't have to make any videos about it or review LP, whatever, but I really think that if you spare the money for this game and gave it a try, you would have a really good time. I think you would enjoy it more than like any Sonic game that's been released in recent years, and it's just another one of those things that would be really special. You can skip the cutscenes, you can play classic mode if you're not into the story and the characters and all that, but just the gameplay alone is super fun, and I think you would love it. So yeah, all of you guys, I really want to see your take on this game someday, because I just know you guys will love it, and it would be really, really interesting to see what you think of it someday, if you could find the time for it and all that. Again, sorry for being kind of annoying now, but it'd just be something that'd be really, really great to see. And even if you didn't make any videos about it, I think it would just be really, really great if you guys at least played this, just because I know you will love it. It is like so many things that you guys love about games, and of course, you're bound to find a few little things that you don't really like, but whatever, it's the same boat I'm in. But anyway, if you do make videos about it someday, I'll put links to them in the annotations and descriptions, in this very video, and that's just something else for you guys who are also fans of these guys to look forward to. And we've sure come a long way. I know I keep saying that, but it's kind of crazy, like, we're at the very end of this LP now. I don't really know how to feel about this. It's like, so, yeah, until the DLC is released and we can play as Torque and Spade and see what their stories are like, that's it! The LP's over, we're done with Freedom Planet. It's been a long road, but we're at the end of it. It's time to put this to bed. I've had a really good time. I've had a great time making these videos. I'm really happy with how they've turned out and how well received they are. But, there's nothing left to say except we're going away. Toodles!
It's a video game!